Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Roadish podcast. Hopefully, this video looks a little bit better than it has done. But as always, I have with me Armand.
Hi, people.
How do you feel so far? Well, with the flashy stuff that we've been trying, and now that we've got this video thing going on.
It's very nice. It's very nice. It's
Yeah,
definitely an improvement. I feel like it's gonna give the listeners/viewers a little more, engagement.
yeah, I would say so. I was we were just saying before the pod as well that I was hoping to be able to change out the background for certain stuff that we go over, but because we're so planned here. We always know
Oh,
what we're
so
doing.
incredibly planned.
Exactly, and yeah, because of that, we were going to have the background change for whatever topic that we bring up so that it kind of involves you guys a little bit more. As you can tell, the planned bit is sarcasm. We are not planned. So there is no background changing. But if anyone wants to make a comment on how they feel about this, then go for it.
Yeah.
And I'll start the podcast as we always do. What's new with you? What's going on?
You know what? Not gonna lie to you. I had a good couple of days, especially in
Yeah.
the past few days. It's just been going well. Like
Okay.
when like you have a continuous successive amount of good things happening to you.
Is this
Yeah.
going to be the vague shit posting that you do beforehand, where it's
No,
like,
no,
oh,
no,
I,
no, no,
I
no,
went
no,
to the
no, no, no.
gym and I guess I did life things.
No, 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 no. Like I've actually like things that I've expected to go badly have went extremely well.
Oh,
You
you've had
know,
like really low expectations and it's gone okay.
no, no, no. I've had like shit expectations. Like I was
Yeah,
expecting
but
like the absolute worst. Like I was expecting nothing, and then I got pretty
pleasantly surprised.
sizable. Yeah, very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, but
Good things have
of course it's
happening.
going to be. Of course, that's the way it's going to happen. If you've got like the lowest of low expectations, anything remotely hinting at good is going to feel brilliant.
Yeah, well, life advice with me: lower
Okay,
your
yeah.
expectations.
That's wow, amazing advice from someone
It,
who
it,
has absolutely no fucking life advice.
it is amazing
Life advice,
advice.
life experience. That's the one.
I have more life experience than a couple of people.
A couple, like the smallest handful of people. If anyone's going to give out advice on this podcast, it should be neither of us.
True. True.
Anyway, saying as much, what's been
Oh,
going on? What were the things that actually happened?
well, I had a business deal that I thought was going to fall through. I thought my client was just going to run away and never
Hmm.
pay, but they came through. They paid, and now we're doing well. So now I can actually sponsor a little of the podcast and actually get a webcam
Fuck
instead
the
of having.
webcam. You need a mic, okay? That's what I'm going to ask you to get. You need a mic. You need to
You
get
want me to get a
something.
mic?
I would
Okay.
prefer for you to get a mic, seeing as we've got this like the new setup with the background and stuff. Webcam can like fuck off in the background. People listen to podcasts. I know that we're only on YouTube and it's a video sharing platform, but fuck me. Who cares? At some point we'll be on other platforms, I'm sure, but for the time being, this is a free place. Okay, don't at me, or you can if you want, I suppose. But the sound is more important than the view, for sure.
Well, if you say so, I guess I will.
Life advice with Rune. Okay, I'm correct. Okay, just trust me on this, bro.
I'm
That's
correct.
my source. Okay, my source is
Trust me, bro.
trust me, bro. I don't know. I've seen something on the internet. It must be true.
Well, a mic is going to be cheaper than a webcam. Then I think probably not. Probably isn't.
Uh, I would hope that you would spend a little bit more on a mic than you would on a webcam. We'll go over it at some point, but yeah.
Well, if anyone has any good microphone recommendations, like put it in the
Oh, for
comments.
fuck's sake! Just
Be nice.
yeah, okay, yeah. I suppose if someone wants to comment something, but some Amazon cheap deal that actually sounds really good.
I mean, if it wasn't for that, I'm probably gonna get something for the HyperX ones. They look fancy.
Oh fuck! What it looks like? No one else is gonna see it. Okay, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway,
It looks good, and it has like a tap on top mute button, and it's great.
why would you want to tap your mic? That sounds like it would be horrendous.
Anyway, everyone, how
How how how how how how how how how how. Hey, that's festive.
I was gonna ask how.
Wow, are you having a stroke? I feel like you're having a stroke right now. Please hold your arms out in front of you. Is one of them dipping?
No.
Wow.
Okay, so
He can't even do it. We've lost him. He's gone. What is that? What even is the noise? Okay, take a second. Fucking breathe. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, so how I can't speak.
Okay, what I think you're trying to say. Okay, fuck it. I'll just take over. You can die in the background. Jesus. I'm guessing you're asking how was my day / few week has been. Fuck me. How?
My back.
Oh,
Okay.
need a minute. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, well, in general, my week's been all right. I'm still psyching myself out about Sunday. I'm trying to move on with this, okay? Content. Yeah,
yes,
it's
Sunday,
been
10-hour
yeah,
drive. One second. Special introduction on the podcast. Dylan, can you take your headset off for a minute? Okay, come here. Can you tell everyone how much of a pussy is for whining over a 10-hour drive?
A lot of pussy. A lot.
For someone who doesn't do it
You
regularly.
can see.
He said for somebody who doesn't do it regularly.
I literally
heaven. It's a
I have
heaven.
it's like I do a 10-minute drive in the morning, okay? So it's like, okay. Anyway.
Special introduction that was Dylan for anyone wondering.
But yeah, I'm still psyching myself out a little bit about the 10-hour drive. It's going to be a bit of a drag, but I'll let you know how it goes by next podcast, because I feel like if I just double check quickly that next time we film this, or next time we record this for it will be excuse me, that was like a 6 out of 10. The next time we do this, it will be like the 23rd. Yeah, the 23rd. So
Yeah.
We'll we do like maybe something a little bit more festive and whatnot, but I'll let you know how the drive goes for sure. But other than that, not an awful lot has changed. We've been dealing with the I would say snow, but it's more like ice. We've had the frosty mornings.
At
So that's
this
been
point, it
kind of
is
annoying.
ice.
Yeah.
I love snow more than anyone in this world. I love snow, right? And then when I saw they started snowing, I got really excited. I'm like, oh, it's gonna snow! And
Yeah,
then
because
when it's like
it snowed for you,
snowed,
but it didn't for us down here.
it like snowed a little bit, and then it all like now it's all ice, and it's like
Yeah.
I'm just walking and slipping everywhere.
Oh,
But
we haven't had it that bad. It's been mainly on like on cars and trees, like on the grasslands and things like that. We haven't had it like necessarily like the gritters have been out for like the main
yeah,
roads and all that kind of thing.
have
But
you
yeah,
have you seen the snap I sent you? There's like snow on the ground. Well,
oh
ice
yeah,
now.
I did see the one that you sent over. But yeah, it's been kind of a bit of a pain to deal with at like 6:30 in the morning. It's not great, but I mean, it is what it is. But other than that, not an awful lot has been going on because everyone's like winding down for the year. I'm getting my Christmas presents in for other people. Shout out to Amazon for still delivering stuff because everything else is on strike. But that's it. That's pretty much our catch up for the
The only
beginning of
reason
this.
Amazon is still delivering stuff is because they pay their employees like they should. Just saying.
Yeah, which is fair. Like, we can go into some like world news if you want, because we're going to do a little bit of I don't want to say like a drama podcast, because we don't really base ourselves off of that too much. You're not involved in like drama circles in places like Twitter and things like that, but I'll shoot some things at you. You can tell me your opinion, and we'll just go over some stuff that's been going on.
Yeah.
So I suppose that as to link to the last thing we're saying, like most of the I don't want to say public services, but most of the services in the UK are on strike at the moment. I think the BBC have released a calendar of what service is on strike on certain days, and I don't think that it ever coincides that it's all of them, but it's pretty much over the course of a week, it is essentially all of them. So you've got NHS nurses because of the obviously wanting a pay rise. Fair enough. You've got things like Royal Mail, which again, this is all pay rise based because obviously the cost of living going up and whatnot. It
Obviously.
kind of makes sense that everyone needs to be paid. Like I know that I'm getting a pay rise, so it just kind of like falls in line with everything else. So I think the one video that's been going around is of I want to say a firefighter who's part of a union, I think that's like the big TikTok that's come out of the UK that most people have seen. And he's saying essentially about it's like a 15% increase in inflation or the cost of living, and they're getting I want to say a 9% increase in pay. So it's essentially a 6% cut. I know it doesn't quite work that way. Like I get that he's trying to do very simple math and whatnot.
Yeah,
But
well,
he
that's still
did.
shit.
It is because it doesn't keep up with everything. Maybe the price of inflation or like the rise in inflation will like slowly level itself out, and things won't be quite as expensive. Maybe after Christmas, and things will start to kind of settle a little bit. Obviously, if we can own is copium is what I'm doing right now. We'll see how things go along them type of lines, but the I don't have any contentions with it. Like everyone should be paid more because of it, and strikes are obviously a really good way to go about that. So I 100% support all of that. I'm guessing you probably do too, seeing as you started this, you brought it up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, strikes, they are what they are. But like, I understand why they're doing it. Obviously, it is a way to get people's attention.
Yeah,
But my opinion, the most effective way is to just give in your notice and leave. And if everyone leaves, well, then what are you gonna do? Which I
yeah, but
guess is the
it's a self. What's the thing? It's I don't want to say selfish because that's the wrong word. It's self sustenance, I guess, is the way to think of it. Is like at the end of the day, like if someone's been in that job role, say there's like a Royal Mail employee, like a postal person that's been there for 30 plus years. Like they're not just going to retrain on something else really quickly to be able to be earning the same amount of money that they were beforehand. Um,
Mm.
like people that have been stuck in these services, I say stuck. They've chosen to be in these services for maybe the majority of their life. Finding other work is probably fine, but they also shouldn't have to. I think that's the main point. Is that
Yeah.
they should be paid in line with the cost of everything else going up. It should be reflective in the way that they're getting paid if they're having to deal with more. Uh, my
Yeah, I
work is a
definitely
really
agree
good
with that.
example of this, but there's like we don't have a union or anything, but we're selling our products for more. Like the business is making more money, but obviously the price of the components that we're buying in is also more expensive. But that doesn't quite level out into like how it affects us, because if we're selling it for more and we're buying stuff in for more, everyone else is having the same issues. We're just being paid the same, but obviously we're having a pay rise, so it doesn't really affect in that sense. Like,
So that's just
um,
like adding a zero at the end of everyone's bill and salary. It doesn't affect anyone. It's just the numbers are higher.
yeah, it in the way that it should work, yes, and preferably, in that essentially, yeah, the money amount is just going up as like leveled, but it's obviously not leveled. That's the whole point. Um, to loop back around to two things, so it's like they have to take care of themselves because obviously they still need an income to be able to pay for all of these things. Can't just like stop paying because it's like, oh, we're on strike and we weren't getting the money that we want pay. Is like, well, a mortgage lender isn't going to look at that and be like, oh yeah, we'll give you a bit of leeway. It's going to be like, no, you fucking sort yourself out. And then the other thing for the TikTok that I was referring to, he did make the good point that when it came to bailing out banks for like any kind of economic crash, we just magically have like 11 billion or something. Um,
Mm,
I can't remember the amount it was, like the amount of wastage.
magically.
Yeah, it just kind of appears. Well, obviously they rebudget and do all that kind of thing, but the mayor of London, I think through the course of the pandemic, we managed to waste like £4 billion worth of PPE. So it was like, okay. And I'm pretty sure I think it's about 10 billion to keep up with these pay increases or something like that. I know that was only one
That's a
example.
lot.
Yeah, I think it was like 40 billion. We lost 40 billion from dropping from the EU. So that's been amazing. That's like a tax kind of, not to say loophole, but like one of the tax rings that we were in, we would have gained, it would have been like a
Mm.
gain of like 40 billion. So we lost out on that. But yeah, it in the grand scheme of things, I think it's about 10 billion. It's either 10 million or 10 billion, but 10 billion sounds about more correct.
Mm.
So yeah, it's all
Well,
been a
10,
bit mad.
yeah.
So that's
Well,
one thing that's been going on.
fair enough. Yeah.
Have you had
Uh,
anything in your circles that has popped up?
well, so my year group and the year group above us, we're
Hmm.
all getting taught maths by the same teacher.
Yep.
And all of us, right, even some of like there's a student in the year above, and me and him are very good friends. He's incredibly intelligent, like to the point where it's like you're not human, right? And even he says this teacher cannot teach anything. It's like I cannot understand the things she says. Like I have to go home and study it myself because I don't understand the things
This
she
is the
says.
same thing from last week where you're like
This is the exact same teacher. Yeah. So like, and he's tried effortlessly to get rid
effortlessly.
of this. Yeah, to get rid of this teacher, going to heads of departments and head of section and all that, and no one's really paying attention because why would they at the end of the day?
Yeah, I was gonna say, why would they pay much attention? Because it's not like you can just like shit out a new math teacher, but you're still having the same
No.
type of issues.
Yeah, but that's the thing. There are math teachers well enough qualified in the school, right, who can teach us, right, who probably would have the time to teach us if you just swapped out some lessons.
Yeah, but then it's more of a case of who. Yeah, you could swap around lessons and whatnot, but what is their current workload? Is it possible to add another class to that? Because it might they might already be working at their limit, and then what happens to this particular maths teacher that you're having issues with? It's like
Well, she can
she
go
just get
teach. She can go teach lower school. I don't care if some 14-year-old gets taught maths by her. I couldn't care less. I want to have the best education from a maths teacher that can actually understand what they're saying and know what they're teaching. Our teacher went on a massive side tangent today about maths, and then at the end she was like, "Oh, this isn't actually at all related to what we're doing or what we're ever gonna do." Sorry. And wasted half an hour of the lesson on something that was maths related, but was like university level.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
okay, but does it?
yeah, it doesn't. Not to say, like in the grand scheme of things, yeah, maybe a reorganization would help, but it's not to say it's not going to happen. It could happen. It just seems very kind of. It's unfortunate to be in that situation, but nothing really is going to change because of the amount of like admin that would be needed. And again, it could come down to a people aren't paid enough. People aren't paid enough to care, so it's just like okay, well, we'll just do whatever. Yeah, I suppose just keep raising grievances. If you've got issues with the way that the lessons are run, then yeah, keep bringing it up for sure.
Yeah.
Take it back
Also,
to a go on.
side tangent, also news that I forgot to mention. My,
Yeah,
my, my, my grandma's visiting on Sunday, and I'm very excited about that.
nice. You can let us know next week how that goes.
Yeah.
But this is
Maybe she'll make an appearance on the podcast because she's staying for a little bit. So,
quite possibly. How old is your grandma?
like 60 something. She doesn't speak any English. She doesn't speak any English at all. But
okay, well, maybe not an appearance on the podcast with saying some random shit in the background.
no. We'll have to make an avatar for her, and then I'll teach her some phrases. Okay.
Okay, maybe. Jesus, I'm worried about what phrase. Anyway,
Oh, come on, man. What do you think I'm gonna teach her? I'm gonna make her do the intro,
I don't
Max.
fucking know. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. To take it back to like some other random shitty drama that's been going on. J.K. Rowling is now the founder of a women-only sexual assault like service helpline type thing
Of
that's
course.
got quite a bit of pushback because the language they're using is very vague. It's been a little bit all over the place on Twitter, as it would be. You know, people have their divided opinions on how that's, I don't know, going to portray itself. The website is very vague. I had a quick nosy through last night about how they're implementing certain wordage. I guess they're saying women only, but you know, it doesn't. Not to say it doesn't sound inclusive. It's kind of the point. You know, J.K. Rowling and whatnot, with the history that they have on Twitter.
J.K. Rowling being the person who wrote Harry Potter, just to be clear.
The turf, yeah, the person who doesn't. What would the proper wording be for that one? The piece of shit that advocates for the wrong type of group, very exclusionary for people who identify as not the gender that they were assigned at birth. I guess is the
Okay, I got it. Gotcha.
a slightly more PC way that I can try and say it. I guess not that I'm in a
Can you not say that on YouTube?
Yeah, you can. I was just trying to be as an explanation, have a more full-on explanation rather than just being that shit person on Twitter who craps on trans people all the time. It's just like just trying to have a little bit more of an insight.
Does she not like them?
Not like is probably an understatement. Is more doesn't recognize them. I think is the main takeaway, but hasn't explicitly said that. Is maybe at some point has explicitly said that, but I don't follow them enough because I don't care. I don't know why I would listen to someone who's kind of ignorant, and I would say is what go as far as like quite bigoted on the whole issue. So that was something that cropped up more recently. I'm not gonna try and say the center's name because I just think the whole thing's gonna be shit. Like they're gonna run into some weird roadblocks. I think it was one of the.
So, J.K. Rowling opened a helpline for women only for sexual assault, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So let's say I call the helpline, right? I'm obviously not a woman,
Mhm.
and I say I have been sexually assaulted, right? I haven't.
Okay.
For anyone worrying, I haven't.
Yeah,
What's
you're
gonna
fine.
happen? They're gonna be like, oh, we can't help you because you're not a woman. We're not gonna help you.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah, essentially, it's a women only. Yeah, it's a women only helpline center type.
That is for lack of better words,
Mhm.
retarded. That is very much retarded.
Well, I understand why it exists because these places need to exist. Like you can't not have them.
No, I understand the
It's more
helpline, but why is it woman only?
because so if you were to trying to think of a good way to go about this because it kind of falls into the trans sports debate that was happening kind of earlier this year.
Wait, birth assigned woman only, or like even
Well, that's the
trans
thing.
woman.
That's why they're so vague. They're saying women only, but people who do identify as a woman, without using the Twitter verbiage of trans women are women, because in a overall sense, I agree with that anyway. I would just if they want to be called a woman, I'll call them a woman. I have absolutely no issue with any of that. For It's more the verbiage that they're using or the words that they're using. They're saying women only, but what is that actually inclusive of? Like they haven't necessarily said no trans women can
Is a
call into
cis
this.
woman
Yeah,
only, or
exactly. They haven't said that, but I think
Mm.
because of JK being like a founder or like a sponsor or I'm not too sure, co-founder or something along them type of lines, essentially like a high up spot in it. I'd have to try and find their website, but it was all on my phone, and I'm going to dig for it now. Because they haven't used that wordage, a lot of the replies that I saw were trans women asking, saying, I have been a victim of this in the past. If I were to phone, would I receive advice and help? And there was no real answer for it. Obviously, a lot of it was just like a lot of shit people on Twitter being like, yeah, real women. And it's like, well, what do you even mean by that? Like, clarify what you mean. Because if you just want to be a dickhead on Twitter, then go for it. But it's being
yeah,
very vague.
this whole term of real woman, like what I consider a real woman is maybe different from what you consider a real woman, right?
Quite possibly, because you have to flush out a lot of that language, but I think that's where the main issue comes from, is that language isn't flushed out, or it isn't fleshed out, like, on their actual website. It says women only, but is that inclusive of trans women? I'm guessing no, because it's involving JK
Most
Rowling.
most
Um,
likely no.
and women's only spaces do need to exist to some degree, but as do men's only spaces, because even the thing that they say on the website, I somewhat agree with, is that if a woman were to phone into that kind of call center or advice helpline or go into the center and try and get advice and help along those type of lines, you want to be speaking to another woman. Like you might not really feel comfortable in talking to a man in that particular situation.
Oh
Completely
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
Um,
that makes complete sense.
yeah, and you need these specialized groups and communities for people to feel included and for it to be inclusive of. But it's also it's excluding a certain part of the demographic that also identify as a woman, which they could also be victims of like a sexual abuse or something like that. And you're going to turn those particular women away because you don't align with them politically. To me, it's very grey area. Lots of things need to be fleshed out. Their
Yeah.
language needs to be a hell of a lot better. But obviously, with the taking on of J.K. Rowling or J.K. Rowling helping like start this, I think most people are going to be under the impression that they're not going to receive help from this particular thing. So fuck them, I guess, which is kind of shit. But there'll be other places,
They
hopefully.
Yeah, there's obviously still plenty of helplines out there. Like this is not the only one.
Yeah, it's not going to be the only one, and I am hoping that to some degree, there will be other places that because I think this is mainly for Scotland. This isn't for the whole of the UK. I think it's just for Scotland. Um, and I think there's also a law going on for next week. I believe it's next week that could also reflect how they have to treat certain individuals or what they consider victims from who people like phone in and all that kind of thing. So I'll do an update on that next week. I'll dig into a little bit more and maybe have a little bit more of I don't know, informed view, if you will. I'm guessing you don't know. We'll go on to another topic just quickly for other shit that's happened online for the last week. Do you know someone called Shoe on Head?
Sean Head. Yes, I
Have you?
do.
How much have you seen of this Shoe on Head? Did you watch the video as well?
I have watched a couple of videos in the past of her now.
You haven't seen the most recent where it's kind of all kicked off and whatnot.
Oh no. I've seen
Okay.
I've seen some of the older videos,
Mhm.
and I was like, I agreed with some of the points, and then once again with some of the points I didn't agree. But yeah,
It's
what?
been it's been odd. This is another one of those like people aren't using language properly.
Mm.
Um, I'm trying to think of a good way to try and like sum up what's happened because it's just become a little bit insane. It's to do with the Balenciaga stuff. Balenciaga. I can't fucking say the word now.
Balenciaga.
Yeah, Balenciaga. There we go. So it was to do with that and whatnot. Essentially, Shu's tweet was the one that like went viral. As in, why would you out this during like Trans Inclusion Week or trans? I can't remember what the word
One
is
of
for.
them.
Yeah, the almost like Black History Month kind of thing, but like for trans people, like I can't remember the
Yeah.
word. I'd have to look it up. And then it weirdly got turned into some sort of LGBT plus fight. It was really weird how like not to say
Oh yeah.
lefties, but like offended people. I don't know how to say it for Twitter, but essentially a load of people took issue with it because it got weirdly turned into some LGBT attack that didn't make any sense. So it was like, no, this is
Yeah.
about weird kid stuff. Like I don't know where like people are putting it together in their heads and like reading 7 steps into it where it just doesn't exist. Um,
Yeah.
and Shu wasn't the one to expose anything. Like it came from other sources. I'm pretty sure like places like the Washington Post did a article about it. Obviously the whole Kanye thing and seeing all of that kind of like do a deep dive, if you will. But yeah, it all
Funny.
just kind of kicked off for no reason. So it was very strange more recently. I'm gonna have to get you on Twitter because you don't use Twitter that often. I feel like I'm
No,
gonna
I
have
don't. I
to.
don't. I don't use this because it's how do I put this very nicely? It's shit. Okay, I don't understand the Twitter format. Okay, it might just me being retarded, right? I'm gonna open up my phone right now, and
Okay.
I'm gonna hop on Twitter,
Hmm.
right? And then keep whatever, and then I just see one post, and I'm like, okay, this is a post, and it's like this guy is saying Wax Ladies was definitely playing with my whatever today, but
Hmm.
whatever. And it's like, what? And then you click on it, and then it has comments under it, and then you can click on the comments, and the comments have comments, and then like it's
Yep.
just
It's threads. It's like Reddit. It's just threads. That's all it is.
no, but like watch, I go on Reddit, and it makes sense. It's clear outlined posts. You know where one post starts and where the other one ends, right? If you click on the comments, it makes more sense. Twitter is just a bunch of gobbledygook all tied together, and you can start from one end of the topic and end the other one and not really get anywhere.
Yeah, of course you can get it. It's a lot of people shit posting and voicing their opinions and whatnot. Um, it's it's I would say it's good for getting bits of news, but a lot of it is just like drama related stuff. Like at
Yeah,
the
well,
moment, there's the
you're not get me on Twitter anyway.
I feel like I'm going to need to for this fucking podcast, so we can have some topics that aren't you going to the gym or talking about your school and maths class or something. But yeah, there'll be loads of things that I'll be able to go through and just being able to like have a quick read through. Like at the moment, I've got some shit posting by Ben Shapiro just because everything he does is absolutely fucking insane. Um,
I
what else
like
have we
Ben
got going on at the
Shapiro.
moment? Don't like Ben Shapiro. He's such a dick. Just a dick.
He's
Um,
okay.
no, he's not okay. This is the problem. The way that he talks about things is just I'm angry at everything because I don't like it. Not aligning with something politically is perfectly fine, but then like saying it's like some weird moral condemnation just doesn't make any sense. If you don't like something, fine, just don't like. It's like one of the recent things I saw was him and like Lizzo played the flute from James. James Matheson, I think it is, I think he's like an ex-president of the US or something. And Lizzo played the flute, and it was like really good. But Lizzo ended up like twerking with the flute, where she's like a fucking amazing flute player, but obviously she's like she's just playing a flute and messing around with it. It's like it's just an instrument at the end of the day. And he was like, "This is a disgrace," blah blah blah. It's like it's a woman who's classically trained playing the flute, who is a trained musician. It's like, why does she feel that this is appropriate? It's like, if anyone's going to play it, it's going to be a classically trained musician who is currently popular. It's like, of course, this is going to be the person that plays flute. She plays it really fucking well as well.
I don't think that's what he meant by being inappropriate. But you know.
You can see it that way if you want, but it's the language that he used. We'll go over it at some point. Also, I feel like maybe in the next few weeks or so, we'll go over the Jordan Peterson clip that you sent me on Snap.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Because I think my response to that was like, he's just lying.
Okay,
but...
quick side note about Jordan Peterson. I feel he has some good standing points and some good standing views on the world. Obviously, not all of them. Some of them are absolutely insane. But what I see mostly the Jordan Peterson, he tries to overuse very eccentric language, right, to make it seem like he's extremely intelligent and knows what he's talking about, when he can just say what he wants to say within 2 sentences. And he uses this to confuse people and be like, oh yeah, he has a point because he sounds smart, therefore he must be smart. No, Jordan Peterson has like 3 good points and the rest are just gobbledygook, covered up in very, very nice words and very, very elevated words to make him sound intelligent.
Yeah, he is very flowery language. Is what I would call a pseudo-intellectual when it comes to anything that isn't psychology. Because I think his PhD or something along those lines. Like he's trained professionally as a psychologist. Most of those like takes, if you will, pretty decent. You know, they can be taken as like worldly advice, but I see a lot of the things that he says is very much like self-help books. All of them are pretty much the same. If a self-help book worked, there would only be one of them. Quick note about the quote that I just said. I have to give credit to Summer, who was actually the one that mentioned that to me some time ago. I just forgot to mention it in the pod. Anyway, back to the pod. Like, why would you need other
self-help book work? You only need one.
Yeah, of course.
That's the quote of the day. You know what? I'm writing that in my notes. One second. Just give me a second.
That's fine. Quotes? You can. I'm just going to do my quick view on Jordan Peterson. I do agree to some degree that the
self.
You're actually noting it down. Jesus Christ.
Would work.
If self-help books work, you'd only need one. There'd only be one of them, because that would be the self-help book that would work, and it'd be like, oh look, I've got self-help. You might have different viewpoints or different like other language you could use, but you'd be reinforcing the same thing. And why would you buy the second one when it says the same as the first one when the first one's already worked? Anyway.
That is quote of the year right there. Quote of the year 2022. if self-help books would work, there would only be one.
Nice.
That's why there's only one Bible.
I'm now a pseudo intellectual. I'm taking on that role as me now. Yeah, everything else, like what he was saying, like his massive misunderstanding of C16. Like again, we'll do a whole podcast on it in the future. But his misreading.
What's C16?
C16 was where Jordan Peterson. So it's a bill in Canada where Jordan Peterson's interpretation of it was that you were forced under penalty of law to address someone with a neo pronoun, as they're like colloquially used as a neo pronoun. Or someone who didn't identify as the gender that they were assigned at birth, that you could be penalized under law if you didn't not approach, if you didn't use the wording that they wanted you to use. So he saw it as like forced speech. You can't force my speech, this, that, and the other. That's not how it worked. It's the same law that New York have for bosses and landlords and people in like that kind of authoritative figure, to discriminate against people that identified as trans or were trans or like anything along the type of lines. So it doesn't. If you misgender someone, that's not what the law incorporates. It incorporates like if you've got a landlord who's harassing you because you're trans, or like making what could be considered like derogatory comments because of the gender that you want to identify as. That's where you could be penalized. The US, or like if you've got a boss that's like,
makes sense.
Yeah, of course it does, because it work. That's why there are special protections for like protected groups in the US. Like that already exists. You already do that. You can't walk up to a African American or a black person or a person of color in the US and start like derogatory name calling because of their skin color. Like you can't do that to them. So they've just included trans
Yeah.
people in that. That's all they've done. They've expanded the law to include trans people.
Okay.
So if
Because
you've got
I think I've seen that. I think I've seen that post, and I was like, yeah, what the fuck is that about?
So if you've got a boss that's like discriminating against you because you're trans, that's all the law
Yeah.
has done. It's that person can now be penalized under that law because they're discriminating against you in like a workplace or like a professional setting or because of that reason. It's not like, oh hi, how are you doing? Oh yeah, he's over there. Oh shit, no, that's a she. Sorry, like along them type of line. If you just make a genuine mistake, that person wants to be identified as a he rather than a she, or a she than a he, or a they. If you just make a mistake, that's not going to get you fucking like $250,000 in fines. That's just an honest mistake that some people are going to make, especially if it's like someone who's new to that. But Jordan Peterson misread the whole thing and was like, "You're forcing my speech," and it's like, no, in a professional setting, maybe, but we also do this for everyone else. So
Yeah.
maybe just be less of a dick. But anyway, I went off on a bit of a rant there because the way that he reads into certain things is so fucking retarded, and he's meant to be like an intellectual, which is why I called him a pseudo intellectual.
Intellectual.
Yeah, well, it is. It's just like flowery language over. I feel like he could never have a human conversation. Is the way that I view it. I'm like, just talk like a fucking person. Anyway,
then he's gonna hit you with, what do you define as a person?
Yeah, but then you get into weird meta-ethical and meta-philosophical conversations about what embodies a human being, and then you go down some weird abortion. Oh God, we could go on there. There's so many things we'll go over. We'll go over them in the future.
Quick side tangent. I searched C16 because I was curious to see what it was, and I got treated so clean dried timber.
Nice.
So
you're gonna have a search history on Google of trying to find out different types of wood. Nice.
This was me a few years ago when I was doing my woodwork coursework. Literally, my whole search history was wood, different types of wood and materials and joining methods.
People can interpret that however they want. You're searching up wood. Anyway.
Fuck you, dude.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. We massively appreciate everyone who stuck around. Thanks for the recent support on the shorts and TikToks and reels and all that kind of thing. They've done reasonably well. Our last one, the Balenciaga one for Kanye, the thumbnail, I think did surprisingly well there.
Beautiful thumbnail.
Just lined up, but yeah, that was a bit of a mean thumbnail that we might do in the future.
Quick side note. So this motherfucker, right, by the name of Rune, said he was gonna do some random flop or bops or whatever. Flop
or flop, yeah.
Bop or flops. There were none, bro.
No, they haven't. You know what? I've been busy. I've been trying to get together Christmas stuff. Work's been a bit all over the place. I haven't had the time to be able to like charge because the way that I have to do this is play it through my iPad for you to be able to hear it. So I have to like charge my iPad, find the song, play it through the audio interface, and this, that, and the other.
Have you not got a phone, dude?
Yeah, I don't have a jack on my phone. I can't plug it into my interface for you to be able to hear it.
Oh, because you're trying to plug it in.
Yeah. So you can hear it like actually half decent rather than me playing my phone mic across this. Fuck that. Anyway, there will be bops or flops. Okay, I've written down a small, like a short list of songs. I've taken some suggestions from people that I've spoken to.
Okay.
So I have got them. It will happen. Just one hasn't gone up yet. Okay, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll probably do one. I don't know. Okay, you know what? Hold me to this. There'll be one by the end of the week.
Okay, good. Also, who do you think is winning the World Cup? I know you don't follow that type of shit, but who's winning? France or Argentina?
Who's in the final? Is it? Oh, what was the whole? And Argentina. What was the whole thing that I saw about like we are Morocco now? What was all that about? I saw a say about that.
Because right, so this is what I know. Might be wrong. So this Moroccan girl was like, "Oh, where is Ronaldo? He go cry, he go home," because they lost because Portugal lost to Morocco. Like he go cry in his car, he go cry, he go home. Poor Ronaldo, and everyone was like, "What the fuck are you doing? That's just derogatory for no fucking reason." now the Morocco are not in the finals. You know, they lost in the semifinals. They're
Yeah.
like, fuck you, Morocco, you dog shit.
One of
They're
those.
all shit on Morocco now. Yeah, and now it's like, France, redeem
Right.
redeem Portugal. Like,
We'll see.
vengeance, I guess.
Well, this is a really long outro, but I don't like the French, so Argentina. I don't really care either way, to be honest.
Thank you for listening to us. Hope to see you here next week. Bye.